Welcome everybody. I am new to the World Media Group and I'm new to Bloomberg, and it's great to be here actually, so thank you for having me, Belinda. So I need to get my slides up. Oh, they're up. You've done it for me. So, so I guess I've come at this from a slightly different angle actually, but I think it complements both the content session earlier, but also the two presentations previously. So one of my observations, albeit them quite new, certainly to Bloomberg, of the changing trends in buying and selling. Well, I think on the one hand it's quite logical. I think as digital revenues continue, or digital audiences continue to grow and revenues follow, then media owners continue to invest. You're probably thinking, I didn't come all this way to a conference to be told that. You know, bear with me really. But I think what's interesting is where that increasingly where that investment is taking place. Of course, media owners need to continue to invest in tech, absolutely. Whether that's proprietary, whether that's bought or partnered, that's absolutely a given. But I think there's an increasingly big shift in the resource, the sort of the shape, the roles, and the focus of the entire sales team. And I'll talk a bit about what I mean. So if you think. We talked and we've heard from Alex on the programmatic front. You know, if those volumes, those ratios continue to grow and diversify into open and self-service variations, you know, ultimately you do get a more automated front end, and there are lots of benefits to that. But I think what's interesting is, whilst that might necessarily save you time at the front end, that the investment is still needed at the back end. And you know, there is huge amounts of data to process. There's a lot of information to feed back to client, back to agency. And what we're finding is that we're having to invest a lot to deal with that in bodies, lots of resource, lots of specialisms really. And certainly I can talk for Bloomberg, you know, in the next few months, we're looking to invest up to a further 30% of resource, which is quite significant. So that's my first point about programmatic. Secondly, and we've heard from Sue, you know, and from Liz to some extent, as planning and insight becomes more and more sophisticated. You saw the ecosystems. You know, it's quite scary when you think about it now, what an agency actually looks like and how you kind of service that. So, you know, as that becomes more sophisticated, more fragmented, and you know, measurement and all those sorts of things become a massive expectation now. Investment is needed in being able to do a few things, both service your clients better, both support the team, and I think increasingly important to stay ahead of the competitive set if you've got the resource, if you've got the expertise. And again, at Bloomberg, what we're looking to do is where we haven't got that expertise is to bring that in, whether that is people from the agency side in order to assist with the sales process. Custom content, big buzzword at the moment, obviously builds a little bit on the first session. You know, it's really high on the list of clients and agencies' objectives now, and more often it's a kind of must-have, particularly I think with really large partnerships. You know, where do you think the investment to deliver custom content is being made? Exactly. It's not necessarily being made in the front end, but it's being made at the back end. Commercial editors, commercial writers, you've got coders, you've got project managers, you've got designers. You know, if you're going to have a really powerful proposition in that area, you've got to have the resource to deliver against that. And what I'm finding is that they are becoming really high value, those types of people, particularly in the sales team. And finding them and indeed maintaining them is really proven to be quite a big sort of high on the priority list again. You know, after all, you know, ideas and idea execution sell. And if you haven't got the people to do that, then you're going to get left behind. So those values, you know, those values are really big and high in discipline. Cross-platform, you know, as you've heard, I look after more than just digital, as I'm sure most people who are on my side do as well. You know, it's a pretty well-developed model now, cross-platform. Most people are doing it, some doing it better than others, but you know, most clients, most agencies now want you to come up with an idea that goes across more than just one or two platforms. It's as simple as that. It's the way that it's gone, a sort of audience sell. You know, to build deeper partnerships, an enhanced user interaction. But again, as these become more cross-platform, you're having to invest in project management, in event skills, if you're going to deliver those sorts of things, you know. And I think what's really interesting here is ultimately you're going to get judged on your ability to deliver those big partnerships, those big cross-platform. You know, if you're going to retain and grow clients' business, you're going to need to have delivered that. You screw it up, very difficult to then come back the following year and get that piece of business again. So again, investment in those other resources, a requirement. And then bespoke ad units, lots of talk about that, what you call them. You know, I think as the humble banner, you know, perhaps has less prominence, and we see bespoke ad units and delivery suites starting to arrive, again, to enhance performance and, you know, drive awareness in sort of different ways. It's more in the design of those where the you know, investment's going, and not just the design, but the marketing. So how do we both build and promote those kinds of services? So, what does this all mean? Where am I sort of going with all this? Well, I think, as I said, there is, without a doubt now, a stronger trend, and there always was, but I think it's stronger now, into the delivery of ads. Clients and agencies, you know, the relationship seems to be evolving beyond just a salesperson. And increasingly what we're seeing again is that more and more people within the sales organisation are touching, you know, our touch points with the client. No one tell me how many people they think in my entire sales team have regular interaction with a client or an agency. Have a guess. It's over 95%. 95% of the team, not just the sales team, but the whole end-to-end unit now have regular interaction. And I think that's a pretty high figure, and I think it's only going to get to the 100%. I can't see that changing. So with this in mind, I thought I'd leave you with a little thought. I thought, you know, is the back end the new front end, for want of a better expression, or is there just a sort of blurring of where one element of selling begins and now ends? So thank you.